ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. We have breaking news, and that news coming down just moments ago in the wake of the Ferguson grand jury deciding not to indict Officer Darrell Wilson in the death of Michael Brown. Here we are a couple of weeks later, and we see that a Staten Island grand jury, Staten Island is a borough in New York City, this long-awaited, much-anticipated grand jury decision is in, and they have voted not to bring criminal charges against the white New York City police officer at the center of the death of Eric Garner. And this was a situation, I think we have some B-roll, hopefully we could roll it. And this is a situation where you see the police trying to arrest Eric Garner, who is was a very large male. He was approached by police. What you don't see there first was they're standing around for a better part of a minute. The police officer wants to arrest Eric Garner, who they believed was selling cigarettes. They're called loose cigarettes. They're not taxed, etc. And so what happened was he said, "You're not going to arrest me. You're not touching me." He resisted arrest. So it's incumbent upon the police to arrest him. And so when you have a man who is well over 300 pounds, you see, I'm trying to look for the exact weight. I don't have that here at my disposal, but you could see from that video, it took a lot of police officers. And there was much talk about one of the holds put on Eric Garner by one of the police officers, Daniel Pantaleo. They call it a chokehold. They say it's outlawed. It's outlawed, not against the law in New York State. It's against police procedure. It's not a crime. So the grand jury took all that into consideration. They heard from the police officer. They heard from others. They heard from witnesses over the course of many, many months, and they decided no indictment of the police officers. Joining us right now is former Florida congressman, retired Army Lieutenant Colonel, and author of Guardian of the Republic, an American Ronin's Journey to Faith, Family, and Freedom. That is, of course, Alan West. Hello, Congressman. How are you, sir?
Hey, Steve. Greetings. I just landed in Midland, Texas. So
how
are you?
I'm good, and that, of course, is your new home for the time being because of your new responsibilities.
Yeah, I was out here in Dallas for the past couple of days, and now I'm on the way to Carlsbad, New Mexico, to speak at a prayer breakfast tomorrow morning.
Well, okay. One of the things you might be speaking about is how New York City reacts to this latest grand jury decision. I don't know how long you were on the phone, and that so-called NYPD chokehold case has come down. The grand jury voting not to indict the police officer, and everybody's bracing. What do you think might happen?
Well, I think that you're going to have a continuing circumstance of what you saw going on out in Ferguson, and especially you need to be concerned because New York City is the home to the #1 race baiter and rabble-rouser, and that's Al Sharpton.
So you think he might play a more direct role in getting things started or revving things up?
Well, of course. I mean, you know that he's been sitting at the table with Mayor de Blasio there, and of course, he has tried to have an incredible, huge impact on the police operations in New York, and he's already held a rally that was up there in New York City, speaking against the New York Police Department. So I just expect the same thing.
And this situation, I don't know if the president and the attorney general are going to weigh in on this. But, when do the president and the attorney general have to say, hey, you know what? We've had grand juries. We've had people who have given of their time, who have done their civic duty, who have looked at these cases, and they have seen the evidence, all of the evidence. I have not, we have not, you have not, and we have to have faith and trust in what they've decided. Can those words ever cross the lips of the two most powerful black men probably in the world?
Well, that's going to be very difficult for them to do, Steve, because right now you don't have an adherence to the rule of law. You don't have a respect of the judicial process and our due process. And I think it's become a very politicized issue for the president and also for Eric Holder. And instead, I mean, they want to attack the law enforcement officers and agencies, and instead of standing up and saying, hey, look, this has gone through the right process. A grand jury has looked at this, and they determined that there was not the evidence to indict the officer. Now, of course, you can go down the path of a civil lawsuit, but then the standard of proof gets even higher there.
Well, civil lawsuit, yes. No, you mean civil rights lawsuit, but civil lawsuit would be just the family suing for monetary damages. And by the way, we should point out, and I think this speaks to the process, Congressman, that Trayvon Martin's family did not do that, because then all the past history of Trayvon Martin would come out. We're coming back. One more segment with Alan West. Just stay where you are, folks. We're coming back. All right, folks, much more with Alan West coming up in a second. But first, I want to tell you about a great book by Newsmax contributor and political analyst Dick Morris. It's called Power Grab, Obama's Dangerous Plan for a One-Party Nation. I strongly urge you to get yourself a copy of this #1 Amazon bestseller. All you do is go to powergrab411.com, get your copy now. That's powergrab411.com. Rejoining us is former Congressman, of course, Alan West from Florida, retired Army Lieutenant Colonel, and author of Guardian of the Republic. All right, Congressman, let's talk a little bit also about Charles Barkley has come out and said some things, and I got tweets in front of me calling him everything from an Uncle Tom to STFU, which I can't repeat what that means. And, of course, all he said was, cops aren't targeting black children or black males. Without cops, it would be a wild, wild west in the high-crime minority neighborhoods. And he also called the rioters scumbags. And he's catching all kinds. He's being called an Uncle Tom and every other name.
Well, you know, the interesting thing is that when Charles Barkley is known for being a very straightforward, upfront type of person, and, you know, this is what you get when you swim against the tide of the narrative that the race baiters want to put out in the black community. And Charles Barkley is spot on, and that the people that are out there destroying businesses, this is not furthering the cause. This is not helping to heal the pain out there in Ferguson, Missouri. You know, last Saturday was Small Business Saturday. 25 small businesses in Ferguson, Missouri could not participate in Small Business Saturday. Now, when you think about what is really ailing the black community, that's not what people are talking about. People are not talking about the consequences of the actions of Michael Brown, 2 felonies that he committed, to rob a store, assault a store owner, assault and attack a police officer, and unfortunately it ended in his tragic death. So why aren't we talking about better education opportunities instead of these failing schools we see in the black community? Why aren't we talking about how do we restore the black family instead of the decimation that we have with a 72% out of wedlock birth rate? Why aren't we talking about better business opportunities? You know, Jack Kemp and Art Laffer came up with an idea, urban economic empowerment zones. Why aren't we talking about that to make sure we have growth and opportunity in these communities? And I think really that, you know, Charles Barkley just, you know, is articulating his frustration with what is going on, and that no one is talking about the real issues. And if you continue to attack the police officers, and I know that there are communities such as in Newark, New Jersey, that are asking for more police officers, you know, it's about safety and security, and people are concerned.
Yeah, and let me just ask you this: why is it that you know, I don't want to say black leaders, because you know they're you know their agenda, and you know the Sharptons, the Jacksons, etc. But do we have to put the Attorney General of the United States and the President of the United States in that category? Because I haven't heard a one of them say, hey, by the way, either parents teach your children, or hey kids, or hey young men, or hey everybody in the country, black, white, green, and yellow, don't ever hit a police officer. Is that hard for the top 2 law enforcement people in this country to get through their lips?
That is the risk that they are running right now, Steve, is, you know, when you have a person like Al Sharpton that has been in the White House 82 times, and to include just this past, a couple of days ago, you run the risk of, as they say it down south, you will be known by the people that you associate yourself with. And that is what is happening. And someone needs to sit back and tell the president, I don't know, David Axelrod, David Plouffe, that you may need to stop this, because it's going to be very hard for you as the president and in turn your administration to separate themselves from this type of character and this type of attitude.
Talk about Alan West, GuardianFoundation.com.
Well, the Guardian Fund was very successful.
I'm sorry, GuardianFund.com. I don't know why I said foundation.
Yeah,
GuardianFund.com, yeah.
It was very successful because we were focused on military and minority conservatives getting into office. We supported 14, and 11 of them have been successful. We're kind of waiting on Martha McSally's recount, but she was ahead in that race by 161 votes. But and it's just been a great thing to get those type of voices up there on Capitol Hill. And, it's going to continue on because of my new position with NCPA. I won't be able to be the chairman of that Guardian Fund. But we're going to continue to work to get more military and minority conservatives on Capitol Hill. I think it's important. And when you have more minority conservatives on Capitol Hill, then you don't have what you saw with the Congressional Black Caucus,
right,
standing there and promoting that false narrative of
with the hands up, yeah. Well, absolutely. Listen, Alan, we miss you terribly up on Capitol Hill and your voice, but thankfully your voice is, ironically enough, been expanded through you not being on Capitol Hill and all the great work you're doing and all the media outlets and now your new position. And we thank you for sharing time with us as always.
Thanks so much. It's always a pleasure, and happy Hanukkah, Steve.
Thank you. And if we don't speak, Merry Christmas to you and your lovely wife and family.
Thank you, brother.
Take care. Alan West, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're coming back with Jay Sekulow, Chief Counsel of the American Center for Law and Justice. Don't go away.